Season 2 of Sex Education finds our favorite characters in a whole assortment of new positions. Otis and Ola's burgeoning relationship is still going strong, but the revelation that their parents Jean and Jakob are also dating creates a new rift between Otis and Jakob and Otis and his mother, which is only intensified when a chlamydia outbreak at Moordale forces Headmaster Groff to bring on Jean as the school's new sex ed teacher. Maeve has been expelled from Moordale, but with the help of English teacher Miss Sands, she's able to convince Headmaster Groff to let her return. Back at Moordale, Maeve and Otis restart their sex clinic, but having Jean at the school offering free and professional advice to the students puts a bit of a damper on their business. And the close friendship and business partnership of Maeve and Otis creates tension in Otis's relationship with Ola. Eric is still buzzing over his brief fling with Adam Groff, which was cut short after Adam was sent off to military school. A new French student named Raheem arrives at Moordale, and the entire school takes an interest in him. But Raheem only has eyes for Eric, and the two enter into a relationship. That relationship is complicated when Adam is kicked out of military school after drugs are planted in his bunk, and he takes a job working at a shop under Raheem's apartment. Eric becomes caught between being in a comfortable relationship with Raheem that allows him to be confident and out in public, and exploring a relationship with Adam, who is more repressed and closeted due to his father's oppressive rules. Aimee has now fully removed herself from the Untouchables clique and is now trying to discover herself and what her own aspirations are. Unfortunately, after being sexually assaulted on her bus to school, Aimee spends the season grappling with the trauma. Eventually, she finds a support system in the other girls at Moordale and is finally able to overcome her fear of riding the bus. By the end of the season, the support of her friends have helped her healthily cope with the trauma. Jackson Marchetti is still heartbroken over his breakup with Maeve and still anxious about being the swim star his mothers pressure him to be. He ends up purposefully breaking his hand and frames it as an accident to use it as an excuse to get a break from swimming. In turn, he's now faced with an uncertain future of what his life looks like without swimming in it. Forced to put in more effort in academics, he starts being tutored by fellow student Viv. He helps Viv with relationship advice on how to get her crush Dex to notice her, while she helps Jackson pursue his new interest in acting, landing the lead role of Romeo in a school play. Eventually, Viv discovers the secret that Jackson purposefully broke his hand, and concerned for his well-being, tells Jackson's mothers. Although Jackson is at first angry at Viv for this decision, he starts going to therapy and finally confesses his true feelings to his mothers about the extreme pressure he feels they place on him when it comes to swimming. Jackson ultimately reconciles with both of his mothers and Viv. Otis's father Remy returns home to spend time with him. This excites Otis but causes friction in Jean and Jakob's relationship. Jean isn't used to being in a committed and healthy relationship like she's in with Jakob and begins to feel smothered by his intimacy. This eventually leads to Jean kissing Remy and ending her relationship with Jakob. Jean quickly realizes her mistake and her true love for Jakob, but he doesn't believe she's at a place to give him the intimacy he needs from a relationship. To complicate things further, Jean discovers that she's pregnant, and that's not the only discovery Jean will make, as she finally finds out about her son's secret sex clinic being run at Moordale, something she rightfully deems as completely unethical. And although Otis is at first excited to have his father back in his life, he soon discovers Remy has only returned home because his new wife kicked him out for his incessant cheating. Ola begins to suspect that there's more going on between Otis and Maeve than just a friendship and their sex clinic business, and asks Otis to cut Maeve from his life, which he does. Although Ola herself begins to realize that she's pansexual and has feelings for her friend Lily. Ola and Otis break up, and at a party, a drunken Otis manages to insult both Ola and Maeve. Ola and Lily begin a relationship, and Ola forms a friendship with her co-worker Adam. Maeve's mother Erin returns home with Maeve's younger half-sister Elsie with a promise of making amends with Maeve, getting clean, and getting a real job that can move them all out of the trailer park. At first hesitant to trust her mother, Maeve begins to trust that their relationship can be saved. Meanwhile, in addition to restarting the sex clinic with Otis, whom she secretly loves, Maeve also joins Moordale's trivia team, the Quizheads, alongside Steve, Viv, and Dex. Throughout the season, Maeve learns to put her trust in her teammates and eventually helps them win the national championship. That win is dampened when Maeve's new paraplegic neighbor Isaac discovers that Erin is using drugs again. Maeve makes the difficult decision to call social services on her mother, causing Erin and Elsie to be taken away by the authorities. Headmaster Groff's marriage with his wife Maureen deteriorates due to his complete lack of emotions and empathy. When Maureen begins to seek friendship and advice from Jean on the matter, a jealous and spiteful Groff begins copying and spreading Jean's therapy notes around Moordale, causing complete chaos. Everything comes to a head in the finale, set largely around the school's production of Romeo and Juliet. With the support of Viv and his mothers, Jackson is able to overcome his performance anxieties to play Romeo. The play's director, Lily, has crafted an impressively intricate, albeit sexually charged show. This embarrasses Headmaster Groff in front of the chair of the school board, and he tries to shut the production down. But it's actually his son Adam who fully derails the show by running on stage and publicly declaring his true feelings for Eric, who reciprocates. Headmaster Groff proceeds to have a bit of a public meltdown, accusing Jean of corrupting the students' minds. Otis stands up for his mother, and the school board chair puts Groff on leave. As the season comes to a close, Otis is resolved to confess his true feelings to Maeve. When he goes to tell her, he instead finds Isaac. Otis asks Isaac to make sure that Maeve checks her voicemail messages and then leaves. Isaac listens to the message Otis left for Maeve, detailing his love for her, and deletes it before Maeve can hear it. And that's everything that happened in Season 2 of Sex Education. Let me know some of your favorite moments in the comments below. What are you most looking forward to seeing in Season 3? I'd love to hear about it. So go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe if you found this helpful. It really helps the channel out. But that does it for me in this video. I'll see you in the next one.